Hey Mass Machines, this is Hender JB, and I hope that you caught Tyler LeenKnecht's interview yesterday when Skip LaCour interviewed him about his road to the Team Universe. And I listened to that interview, I thought it was great. I'm also on my own road to the Team Universe, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to role model success. So I am putting myself through Skip's interview questions to Tyler and creating my own first interview for my road to the Team Universe. First off, I want to thank you, Skip, for this opportunity, for this challenge, for the learning experience that you're creating for us, for making this so much more than just a trophy for me and for Tyler and for lots of other people out there. You're making this a whole life experience. Tyler, I want to say congratulations to you on your success so far. Awesome first interview. I look forward to experiencing this journey with you and being a part of it. Now let's go ahead and get on to this interview process. The first question from Skip was, how long have you been training? You know, really I started training back in probably 1997, but I really don't qualify that as training because it was just kind of working out without a specific direction and without a specific plan. You know, I got more serious obviously when I began competing in 1999. Again, you know, that was still at my initial stages though of lifting. I mean, I was very dedicated, very routine, you know, had a 5-6 day a week regimen that I followed very strictly, never missed, very dedicated, started putting my nutrition plan together. But again, you know, this whole bodybuilding process is a journey and it's a progression, and so it's not been until recent years where I really feel like I've been even getting close to reaching my training potential and my nutritional potential and my whole bodybuilding potential. And I'm still developing that, so I'm still learning to train every day, and I'm learning about bodybuilding and nutrition every day, and this journey is another part in that learning process. As far as my contest placings, that was another question. You know, there's a couple, I've competed every year except for 1 year, I think, actually 2 years since 1999, doing 1 and 2 shows a year. But really, you know, there's some monumental shows for me. You know, first off, the 1999 when I first competed in the Giantana Classic, that was monumental because that was my first show. Did well, placed third. Then my next progression, and I realized this progression as I was creating my website the other day, and I was going through all my bodybuilding contests and my shows, and I saw the natural progression of bodybuilding and the natural progression of my competitions, the natural progression of me and my learning process. You know, my first step to that learning process was in 2002 when I won the Virginia DC State Overall Championships. That was my first major win. The second win for me would have been back in 2005. And this wasn't really a win, but it was when I decided to make the step up into national level competition in 2005 and first competed in the Team Universe and placed 4th in the Team Universe in the middleweight class in 2005, and that was a great success for me. Next, 2008, I competed in the Pittsburgh Bodybuilding Championships, which is a very challenging show, and I won the overall. I competed in that show for years and only placed, you know, top 2 or 3, so to win the overall finally showed a natural progression. That same year, a month later, I competed in the Junior USA and placed first in my weight class. Then my latest you know, accomplishment has been the 2010 Team Universe, where I won the middleweight championships and qualified for a chance to compete at the World Championships. You can read about that in my website, the website is Joy's BB Journey Blogspot. Make sure I'm giving you that right. Yeah, joysbbjourney.blogspot.com. joysbbjourney.blogspot.com. You can see my progression and read a little bit more about that. What is my goal after turning pro? You know, this is a great question because, you know, when I was at the Team Universe and I was on stage, I won my weight class, and I was faced with competing for the overall, and that's when it hit me for the first time. I still remember sitting backstage and I thought, wow, you know, what happens if I do get this pro card? You know, it was almost a sense of disappointment. You know, where do I go now? You know, I've done all this work and this is what I've worked for, and now I'm here. What am I going to do? And I hadn't thought that far in the process. And it was an amazing thing, you know, just a realization for me And it wasn't until I actually ordered Thinking Big and started reading through that in the off season of 2010 that I began to develop my goals. My goals past, earning my pro card at the Team Universe and what that would be. And as far as, I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and address the question of, why did I choose the NPC? I chose the NPC because it to me was, it was the place that I started. And once I got in the organization, I felt like it was the top of the line organization. That's where the hardest competition was. And I wanted to compete with the best because, the best is where I want to be. And getting a pro card from an organization that I felt was easier to get a pro card in just to say that I had one, that's not what I want to do. I want to compete with the best and I want to be the best. That's why I chose the NPC. Skin in the game. I know, Tyler, the reason why you're working directly with Skip, that's awesome for your road to the Team Universe is, you've done a lot of investment with him and you've got lots of skin in the game, I wish I'd discovered Skip earlier and I'd have more of that skin in the game too. But fortunately though, I am working with an awesome trainer, IFBB Pro Lisa Auckland. I started working with her in the off season of 2010. She is my trainer. After I started working with Lisa as a trainer, I was looking for more thinking, more motivation, more mindset information, and that's when I discovered Thinking Big and started down the road to Skip's great motivational tools and got on board with this challenge. And I am investing more and more of my skin in the Skip's game as far as his books and his DVDs, supplementation with Match Machine Nutrition for sure. What is my genetic potential? Actually, before I always would have said my genetic potential is a 5. Why would I say that? Because I felt like I was not naturally disposed to putting on lots of muscle. I have a fairly small frame and it's hard for me to put on muscles, what I always used to think. But, I used to give myself a 5, but now that I've been reading Thinking Big, I realize that your identity is the most powerful tool that you have to use for yourself. And I've realized that you should look at your strengths and not your weaknesses. So I'm going to give myself a 7, and I'm going to say the reason for that is because I've been told many times by the judges that I have a great symmetry. I have a predisposition to be able to lose body weight fairly easily and get myself in a contest condition. I have a great metabolism. And when I put on enough makeup, I'm not too ugly, so I've got that going my way too. So I have lots of genetic things to be thankful for, and I need to look at those, and I'm going to give myself a 7 on that. As far as what are my goals after turning pro, what I discovered in Thinking Big when I started actually writing out my goals as part of the workbook exercises was that really earning my pro card at the Team Universe was just a beginning point and definitely not the end. It was the beginning point of opening up a whole new set of doors for me, a beginning point to an opportunity to compete as a pro. I want to step on a pro stage and just compete as a pro, to have another life experience, to be able to say that I did that. I want to be able to go to the World's Championships and be able to represent the United States. What an awesome thing to do. I want to do that. As far as other than competition goals, those competition goals and that IFBB Pro card, that's almost like a certificate of passing an exam or something for me. That's a qualification, that others will have more respect and they'll be able to be more willing to learn from me. And then, I would love to go on, maybe start doing some judging, stay really involved in the support or in the sport, start helping others and giving back and being more not participating in contests, but being more of a support and a growth mechanism for others who are like me now. So that's my goals after winning my pro card. How do I envision, this journey? I am going to learn, I'm going to role model Skip and how he interacts with Tyler, and I'm going to role model my journey in much the same way. Of course, I'll be doing all my own videos and all my own information, and it's going to be a little bit more for me, so I'm going to have to tone things down a little bit, and because I need to focus on my competition goals and getting in great shape for the Team Universe and doing what I need to do for competition. I'm going to work with Skip on getting ideas that can help me with this road, this journey, and how to bring that to you. And then as far as, what a trophy. You know, I loved it when you said, Skip, in your interview, you said something about, you know, you're going to have so much more, Tyler, than just a trophy at the end of your competition. That is such an awesome statement. Absolutely, that's what I'm going to do. After the end of this competition, I am going to have so much more than a trophy from this competition, and I thank you, Skip, for this opportunity to have so much more than a trophy. Truly do. And then you asked Tyler, you know, if you could just kind of tell us a little bit about you, get a little bit personal with us so we know more about you. It would help us out and help us get in touch with you. So I'm going to tell you about me and my biggest challenges in life. I am actually a full-time civil engineer, and my job sometimes, you never know, it's very unpredictable. Sometimes it just gets into crunch mode and you just have to crunch. During my competitions, I run the risk of being in one of these crucial areas where we're just in crunch mode, and I'm just as much dedicated to my job as I am my bodybuilding job and effort, and it can be very challenging. At the same time, you know, it's not just me. I'm not just a single person. You know, I have my husband at home, and you know, living with a person that's been competing for 10 plus years isn't always the easiest thing to do. You know, I realize that, you know, sometimes the more you put into competition, the less and less time you're able to spend relaxing and doing things with people you love. So that's a big challenge for me, is because I need to try to minimize the impacts to my family on this, but yet still push myself and be the best person that I can be. That's why you'll see me shooting videos at my lunch break, just like I'm doing right now, because when I do things at lunch break, it doesn't impact anybody else but me and my time. So time constraints are a really big thing that impacts my life. Yeah, it is scary. It is scary, you know, the thought of competition again. You know, I competed in 2010 last, and now I'm getting ready to put myself back into all this pressure. You know, I remember all the, you know, there's stress and there's dieting and, you know, how your body feels and reacts, and how that affects your emotions and everything, and your thinking, and especially sometimes when you're in engineering, you need to have your thinking. You know, it can get kind of scary when you're on a low-carb thing. So all these factors play back into my mind again. And it is scary, and then you're always afraid, you know, what if I'm not the best that I ever was? What if I don't meet my goals and my expectations? But you know, what you have to do is just focus on the positive, focus on everything you'll gain and not anything negative, and you'll succeed in your endeavor. So I hope you enjoyed this first interview with Hender JB, Joy Henderson, and my road to the Team Universe. Again, please visit my website, and it is at, I keep having trouble with this, joysbbjourney.blogspot.com. I've put a lot of work into that website to totally take you through my contest experience ever since 1999, and to give you some insight into my world along the way. I will be working on that and tying that into how I ended up discovering Skip LaCour and all his great motivational books and videos, and his mindset, and how that's improving my life, and also Mass Machine Nutrition. I look forward to experiencing this journey with you. Thanks. Try hard, train hard, and think big.